Welcome to KKM, Episode 7. Hi. Os. Hey, what happened to my hair? Huh, I'm feeling very simplified. What's going on? Konnichiwa. Hey there, Os. It's time for imagining kanji images. Are you ready? Shall we begin? KKM. Karate Kanji Madness. Episode 7. This is Karate Kanji Madness with me, Sensei Ray Snyder. In this episode of Karate Kanji Madness with me, Sensei Ray Snyder, we'll be looking at Episode 7, which is learning to recognize the kanji for Heian. So, I have a disclaimer. In these Karate Kanji Madness lessons, the subject of stroke order for kanji is not discussed. The attempt here is only to make the kanji images more recognizable and to do it in a fun way, especially to martial arts students who are particularly interested in Japan. Note, learning how to correctly write the stroke order of kanji is a whole separate area of study. It's an important one, and it involves knowing the correct direction and order, but you can find many other videos and articles online to teach you stroke order if you're interested. Note, I'm a gaijin, a foreigner, a non-native person. I'm an outsider. The word is composed of two kanji, being gai, which means outside, and jin, which means person. Don't get me wrong, I love Japan and its people, but I'm not Japanese, and I never will be. I understand that. That's fine, that's okay. I do appreciate Japan. I appreciate its people, and I appreciate its culture. Episode 7, Heian. Shown is the kanji for Heian. Shown again is the kanji for Heian. It's the same as the previous one, except the previous was straight and textbook. This is artistically written, and it says Heian. Compare it to the previous slide. Let's start with an overview. Heian is a combination of two characters, Hei and An. The first character, Hei, and it means flat, even, level, calm, ordinary, and peaceful. That's the first item that is being pointed to, the first kanji being pointed to. The second part of Heian, the second kanji, is An, and what that character means is safe, or stable, or easy, or peaceful, or inexpensive. A little fun fact, the Heian katas were originally known as pion, which is the Okinawan pronouncement of the exact same characters, again from the island of Okinawa. The founder of Shotokan karate, however, Gichin Funakoshi, he renamed them to Heian so that they'd be more acceptable to mainland Japan. Note again, the word Heian is often translated as peaceful mind. However, I think there is much more to it than that. So what is Heian? For this lesson, we'll focus on primarily the 5 Heian karate katas. But the word Heian does mean much more than just the karate katas. Heian also refers to a period of time in Japan. The Heian period was 794 AD to 1185 AD, and it was a time of many cultural achievements, which included the Japanese writing system, kana. The word Heian is also the name of a famous Japanese shrine, which is in Kyoto. So let's start with looking at the kanji for Heian Shodan, which is the first Heian kata. It's the first Heian kata of 5 Heian katas. Note, the word Shodan also is meaning a first-degree black belt in many styles of martial arts. It's typically required to take about 4 to 5 years of hard work to obtain the rank of a first-degree black belt. The Japanese word for black belt is called Shodan, which translates into first step. The word kanji is also used for describing the Heian kata, which is going to be Heian Shodan, the first step. Note, numbering. In the Heian kata series, the first Heian kata is called first step. The other Heian katas are then referred to as a second step, a third step, a fourth step, and finally a fifth step. Note, kanji left side. If you study the Japanese kanji for Shodan, the left side of the kanji is sho, which translates to mean clothing. On the right side of the kanji is a symbol for sword or for knife. To relate this to the kata, think that when producing clothes, the first step is to cut out the material. Therefore, the kanji translates to the word begin. Kanji on the right side. This is if it's written horizontally on the left and right side. So kanji on the right side of the kanji symbol is for dan, which means action or movement. The left side of the symbol means ability, skill, grade, or rank, and together the symbols for sho and dan, shodan, represent the first senior rank a student achieves in martial arts, the black belt. And in the Heian Shodan, it's the first kata that you learn and accomplish in the Heian series. This slide image for long, but I want you to see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Heian katas. This time they're listed vertically, and we're going to learn there's 4 parts to it. And the first 2 kanji are Heian. On the far left is Shodan and then Dan. Continuing from the previous slide, the numbers 1 through 5. Now they're written horizontally. The top one, Heian Shodan, first in the series, then Heian Nidan, then Heian Sandan, Heian Yodan, and Heian Godan. In the martial arts that I teach to my students, Heian Shodan has to be learned before you can be a yellow belt. It's part of the testing process for yellow belt, although there's much more to it. And for the karate that I teach, Heian Nidan, you have to know that for orange belt, Heian Sandan for what we have as green-white belt, Heian Yodan for solid green, and then finally Heian Godan is for blue and white. So the third part of the kanji are the positions of the 5 different Heian katas, and that lets you know what their numbers are. So we're going to look closely at that. Be patient and let me try to get into it, and hopefully I'll explain it well. On the far left is Shodan, Heian Shodan, and what's shown is in yellow is basically the number telling you that this is the first Heian kata, Sho. Here is the second Heian kata, Heian Nidan, and the yellow is showing you that it's the number 2, ni, in Japanese, ichi ni. Ni is number 2, second Heian, Heian kata. Now the emphasis is on sandan, and yellow is shown to highlight the Japanese number 3, ichi ni san, showing you san, the third Heian kata. Now in yellow is the number 4 for Heian Yodan. Finally is number 5, or the 5th step, Go, the number 5, go, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, and it's Heian, Kodan. Now we're going to talk about dawn, like Heian Sho, dawn. Here is the Japanese kanji for dawn. A little bit later in this lesson, we'll be showing you some images to help you remember what it looks like. This fourth part of the kanji is dawn, and it's made up of 3 components, and it can mean step, or step by step, or stairs, or stage, or rank, or order. Okay, I've tried to give you some background, and with all of that background out of the way, let's see if we can create some fun images in our minds to remember the kanji. Let's start with another look at the kanji. We're looking at the vertical in the center. And I've got a blue line drawn there. The top 2 kanji are Heian. That was presented earlier. And then under the blue line is the third position there is Sho. For in this kata, it's Heian Shodan total. But I've put on the slide here the kata number, either 1 through 5, is then the third position. And then finally on the bottom is Dan. Let's look at the kanji for Hei. This is what I call the fun part of the lesson. I like to draw, I like to do cartooning, so I try to incorporate it and make it an image that you can remember. So picture you're in a dojo, and there's a cabinet in the dojo. Look at it closely. You'll see on top there's 2 swords, and in the very center you'll see a bow. Bow is typically about 6 feet in length, a bow staff, and leaning against it, a smaller staff, a jo, typically about 4 feet. That can vary. So you got a bow and a jo in the center, and also in black are a pair of sai, and then right behind the sai you'll see some colored yin and yang balls. Try to picture those in your mind. Now, the cabinet's not there, but what were some of the main images? The sword on top, katana, the bow staff, the sai, and the yin and the yang. Picture these objects in your mind. Close your eyes and try to remember them. The image is similar to the previous one, but we're shifting and moving it to form it into the kanji for Hei. So again, the sword, the bow, you'll notice something's going on there with the yin and the yang, and the sai. Beginning to morph into the kanji for Hei. For Hei. So remember the first character, Hei, can mean flat, even, level, calm, ordinary, and peaceful. Here's what the kanji looks like. A very straightly drawn kanji, I might add. But try to imagine that cabinet. Try to imagine the sword on top, the bow staff in the center, the sai, and the yin and the yang. Try to hold that image on to your memory. You an alternative here. There's another way you can try and remember Hei, and that is to picture it in your mind as a scale of justice. I want you to stretch your brain here. Think about the yin and yang there. Think about what's supporting them. See the straight line, kind of where the Japanese samurai sword occupied the space earlier. The main shaft is where the bow was, and then the sai were the next level down. But you can think of either that cabinet in a dojo, or you can think of the scale of justice. The kanji for Hei. Look closely at it and think about the images shown previously. Okay, let's work on from Heian. That sounds like on. And let's get some images for that for you. Top left is the kanji for roof. And then follow the blue arrow over to the right and see a house. Try to see a house with a chimney on the top. See the 2 brown parts of the slanted roof and relate that to the kanji for roof on the left. Then look below on the left side in black is the kanji for woman, and try to picture a woman as she's gracefully stepping out or maybe dancing, or there's some movement going on, and that's the representation for a woman. All right, moving from the last slide of roof and woman, the two of them put together as a kanji, that means there's a woman in the house. And a woman in a house is interpreted with different meanings. A woman in a house can be interpreted as being restful, or tranquil, or tranquility, to be at ease, etc. Remember, the second character is called on in Heian, which means safe, stable, easy, peaceful, or inexpensive. Sometimes you'll see the word cheap, but I don't like to use the word cheap because I just don't like the connotation of it. I like the word inexpensive, that somebody's looked for a bargain and found a good deal and is practical. Numbers, won't spend a lot of time on the numbers. We've got sho and ni, san, and yo for yon, and then go. Basically, numbers 1 through 5 represented. The third part of the Heian kata kanji is the number of that particular kata. There's 5 katas: shodan, nidan, sandan, yodan, and godan. So let's jump ahead from that and go on to the fourth part. Dan. All right, bear with me. Picture in your mind a spiral stairway, and it's got colored steps on it. On the lowest level is green. Then you step up, you move up, you get up to blue. From there, you step up, you go higher, you get up to brown, and then finally you get the very top step, the top level, and you get to black. Or if you just don't like the steps, let's think about karate belts. Let's start at the bottom with green belt, go up to blue belt, then the brown belt, and then the black belt. I've left out the levels below green, but you get the idea. Use your imagination and think of these colored steps changing into colored karate belts. Okay, this is where we stretch your brain. Look closely at this kanji. In particular, focus on the left side. Can you see the spiral steps? Try squinting. Close your eyes, look at them, see the steps, or can you see the karate belts? See the spiral stairway? Do you see the belts? To the right, we haven't spent a lot of time on this and probably won't. There's 2 symbols here. The one on the top right is by itself means cloth, and then on the bottom is a radical, which means it's another symbol of several for representing hand. So this like in Heian Shodan, this Dan kanji has 3 parts to it. It's called Dan. But the meaning, the overall meaning for the kanji can be step by step, stairs, rank, or order. And think about that. If you're interested in martial arts, haven't you been going step by step? Haven't you climbed the stairs? Haven't you been concerned about rank and the order? As you look at this kanji, think about the steps a student has to take to reach the level of a black belt. Think of the hand and the training it requires to learn correct karate techniques. Think of the cloth as meaning the material of the karate uniform worn. You may want to go back in this lesson, stop and start, look at the symbols, so that you can learn it and remember it. Okay, we're almost done, but let's do a recap of what's been presented to you. All right, on the top, written in red, is Heian, and then a number, and then Dan. On the left, think about in a karate dojo, in a studio, in a training hall, the flat, even, level, calm, ordinary, and peaceful for Hei. And then the next, think of on. Think about the house, the woman in the house. Think of safe, stable, stability, easy, peaceful. The third section, think about the numbering. Is this the first or the 5th kata in the Heian series? And then finally, the Dan, step by step, stairs, rank, or order. So very similar to the previous slide, but this time I've just substituted the karate belts. And Heian, Shodan, or Heian Nidan, the Dan, the step by step. So here's the kanji, and let's read them real quick. Think about the numbers. Heian Shodan, or Heian Nidan, or Heian Sandan, or Heian Yodan, or Heian Godan. The only thing different in this slide is under the numbers I put down in faint text that Shodan I think of as Ichi. I don't know why they didn't use Ichi, but I guess I just don't understand that. But Shodan's the first kata. Ni, number 2, makes sense. 3, san makes sense. Yan, a lot of times when we're counting, we'll say Ichi, ni, san, shi, but shi is for number 4 isn't used a lot because of superstition, because she actually means death. And then finally, go. And then on the bottom of this slide, you may want to print out this one image out of all of the slides and see if it helps you to remember the kanji for the Heian kata series. Image shows the kanji on the bottom and Shodan or Nidan or Sandan, and the characters I've created on top to help to remember them. And again, on the bottom it says you might want to print this out, and that might help you to remember the series. Most people say that Heian Shodan, which is the first kata in the Heian series, simply means peaceful mind or first step. However, I don't see it as being that simple. There's a purpose to katas, and they can serve many purposes. They can be used for exercise, to relieve stress, for meditation, for self-defense, for improving one's abilities, to remember one's training, for preserving a culture, for using full speed and full power, for competitions, and for muscle memory. A kata can mean different things to you at different times of your life. Katas can also be done with other martial artists as a team, for example, team kata, or as bunkai, where you're doing it with other students or instructors so that you can analyze the purpose of the movements in a kata. So, peaceful mind. The term peaceful mind may not necessarily be an accurate translation from Japanese for the names of the katas because, after all, you are practicing martial arts fighting techniques. You may not be peaceful. I like to think of the Heian katas as meaning that a student can learn to be calm and steady during difficult and trying times. Those times can be self-defense, or they can just be times of life in general, learning to be calm. That a student can learn, focus, and control the body and the mind during critical times for self-defense and to defend others is important. We've come to the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Presenting a lesson gives me an opportunity to research kanji and present information which is interesting to me, and I hope it's interesting to you also. I'll find out. Look for other lessons. Your support is motivating to me to help me to create more. Matane. See ya. Note, see the KKM website for more information and details. That's www.kkmkarate.com. Matane. See ya.